Hello, dear friends. My name is Sofia Dorinskaya. I am a doctor, and today we continue our conversations with you. I received a question like this. I have problems with perception. I am being referred to a psychiatrist. I don't want to take psychiatric medications, and this person wants to come to me for a consultation as a psychiatrist. My friends, I have always said and will continue to repeat that there is no single simple solution to problems. Unfortunately, right now, somehow everyone has gotten used to the idea that if there's a problem, there's a single pill or a single specialist or something else, and that you only need to take a very small number of steps for the problem to be solved. Let's figure out this particular case. As you know, we all have a body. We're all human. And there are two fundamentally different types of problems. One problem is a spiritual problem. It's some kind of psychological issue. If we look around, well, for example, there are people who call themselves psychologists, and supposedly they solve some psychological problems. We're not going to discuss the quality of this solution right now, but nevertheless, there are doctors. They address issues with the body. While we won't discuss quality now, their main purpose is to solve bodily problems. And there are some unclear doctors who are called psychiatrists. Why they are called doctors is unclear. The soul is something immaterial. At the same time, psychiatrists receive a scientific education, meaning they study real processes and real organs in the body. Yes, but they deal with something called the psyche or the soul. No one has ever seen it, and of course, there's complete confusion here. Ladies and gentlemen, to sort all this out, I want to tell you one thing. In a person, psychological problems are intertwined, specifically psychological ones, whose cause truly lies in the psyche. And where you really need to communicate with the person and ask special questions in order to somehow resolve the psychological problem itself. But there are also psychological problems of physical origin. For some reason, we forget that our head doesn't walk around separately from our body. For some reason, we forget that we have a very powerful physical body, and its state of health always affects our psyche. If you remember a time when your stomach hurt, for example, you were in a very bad emotional state. You become irritable, you become impatient, and nothing in life brings you joy. You become very anxious, and you can't sleep. But there's even a situation where you can't always realize that your stomach hurts. How many times have I seen someone in that condition? And when I asked him, "Does your stomach hurt?" the person would suddenly stop and say, "Yes, my stomach has been hurting all day today." What does that mean? It means that pain is not always recognized by the body, but it always affects your mental state. And here we have a tangle, really, a tangle. So, a person has problems with perception. How can we understand these perception problems that are related to physical illness? And do we need to look for some kind of physical illness? Or are these perception problems purely psychological in nature, and the body doesn't affect them at all? So, how can we find out what the source of this inadequate mental state is? There's no way to find out? The answer is there's no way to find out. And we always start when we see a person with some kind of inadequate mental state. We always start with restoring the health of the body. Always. Because just by looking at a person who has neurosis, psychosis, severe psychosis, mild neurosis, severe neurosis, we can never say what the cause of this neurosis is. It's impossible to do that. Therefore, the first thing we need to rule out is we need to rule out a physical cause for the onset of psychosis or neurosis, because the head doesn't walk separately from the body, because the psyche is always secondary to the physical condition of the body, and only after we've put the body in order. And let me remind you that nutrient deficiencies are often not identified as a disease. This means that you can go to the doctors for a checkup, everything is basically within normal limits, but you still feel unwell. So, if you don't address your nutrient deficiencies, you will always have mental health problems. So you need to address your nutrient deficiencies in order to get rid of your mental health problems. Physical theology, physical source, physical origin. And so, when we look at a healthy person with their nutrient deficiencies addressed, and believe me, a huge number of mental health problems just disappear on their own. When you eliminate nutrient deficiencies, when you give the body the nutrients it needs in abundance, a huge number of problems just fall away. And so, when we have eliminated all the deficiencies, the program is complete. The person reports that they feel great. Their sleep has improved. Nothing hurts. Their problems with irritability are gone. They have become more mentally stable, and they can now handle physical and mental stress. And all of this is based on nutrient deficiencies, deficiencies in nutrition. And when we eliminated them, the person got rid of these issues. We eliminated them. So what remains after that? What is left? That is already a psychological problem. Psychological, from a truly psychological source. A truly psychological problem. To be continued. And provided that the person does not allow nutrient deficiencies, does not allow exhaustion, self-exhaustion, and gives the body all the necessary nutrients, he maintains a balance between work and rest. Only after that can a person be directed towards actually resolving psychological problems, which are in no way related to the physical condition of the body. Do you understand what the connection is here? So, when you write to me saying that you want to get a consultation from me as a psychiatrist, first, you need to have a program to eliminate deficiencies, and if you address these missing deficiencies, you will have a healthy mental state. And if you don't have this, if you never address your deficiencies, you will always have a damaged mental state. Always. Without exception. Even if you live in paradise on earth, even if everything around you is wonderful, and there isn't a single psychologically traumatic situation, your life is filled with roses, everyone has always loved you, your parents have always treated you well, and you've never experienced any problems. You picked up your education instantly, and everything just came easily to you. If you haven't addressed your nutrient deficiencies, you will always have mental health problems. Always. That's why the first thing a person should do if they have mental health problems, and even if they have real diagnoses of physical illnesses, The question is it necessary to go through a deficiency elimination program? Let me remind you, there is the concept of a true disease. A true disease is different from all other diseases in that when you address the cause of a true disease, your situation is resolved. This is described in the old ones. So, without eliminating nutrient deficiencies, no disease, even if diagnosed, can be completely cured. It can't be. Because the true cause of the body's suffering is always a deficiency of nutrients. And as the body suffers, and when this suffering continues over time, the body develops real physical illnesses. So, if you need a clear mind, if you need a sound consciousness, if you need a good memory, if you need a mind that is truly present and you can solve problems, you need to have your nutrient deficiencies eliminated. If you don't have your nutrient deficiencies eliminated, you will have poor memory, scattered attention, you will be irritable, you will have the urge to drink, and you will have an unhappy personal life. Because you can't handle the psychophysical stress that inevitably comes with family life. External pressure is an issue. In general, the pressure from society when you have to endure difficult financial situations and other situations as well. You understand. Thank you. So come to your nutrient deficiency elimination programs and let your mental health be strong and resilient, your productivity be at its peak, and your life be happy. All the best. Goodbye.